Hey guys, okay, I'm going to go through some problems that basically go through the review again with you. So the first thing you are going to see on the test is simplifying expressions. And it might be a good idea to look at the word problems just so that you know kind of what those look like. So simplifying expressions, there's going to be one question from this section, and this is going to be like if you have 4x plus 8y minus 3 plus 2x minus 4. So this type of problem we'll look and simplify by combining like terms. So I have 4x, I have a 2x, that's 6x. And then I have a negative 3, negative 4, so I have this plus 8y, negative 3, negative 4 is negative 7. Okay, so that's simplifying expressions, just combining like terms. The next thing we have is solving linear equations and inequalities. And you're going to see about 2 problems from this section. So a linear equation might look something like 3x plus 2 minus 4x equals 8x minus 8. I said 3, put an 8. Okay. So we're going to distribute. So we have 3x plus 6 minus 4x equals 8x minus 8. Feel free to pause this as you're going if you need to take it slow, okay? I just don't want the video to be super long. So I'm going to combine like terms on this side. So that's going to leave me with negative x plus 6 equals 8x minus 8. I'm going to go ahead and add x to both sides and 8. So here this makes 0. 6 and 8 is 14. 8 and x is 9x, and that's 0. Then I divide by 9 on both sides. X is going to equal 14 divided by 9. That's a 9. Okay? So that's an equation. Linear inequality, you might see something like 3x, negative 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to negative x plus 8. I don't know. You might have more things to combine on each side. But again, I don't want to make the video super long. So I'm going to start by adding x to both sides and subtracting 2. This is going to give me negative 2x. Negative 3x plus x is negative 2x. It's greater than or equal to, this is 0, this is 0. 8 minus 2 is 6. I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides, and I'll get x. Remember, I divided by a negative, so I need to flip my symbol. So x is less than or equal to 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. We could have avoided this rule if we would have added 3x to both sides. So if you pay attention and minus 8. So if we pay attention and move to where we always have positive x's, this is 0. I'm going to have negative 6 is greater than or equal to 2x. Then I'm dividing by a positive number. I have x, negative 3. So these answers are the same. These two things are equivalent. The alligator is, like you guys like to say, is eating the number on both of these answers, so they're the same answer. We just were able to avoid this rule of remembering to flip this symbol by keeping our x's positive. Okay. All right, so the next section is going to be factoring. Okay, you can expect to see about 5 questions from here. So I want to start by looking at number 16 on the lesson 3 and 4 homework. This was from 3 and 4 homework. And that problem was x squared plus bx plus 12. And it was asking what values of b make this problem factorable. So, sorry, I need something to drink. Okay. So what if it's factorable, I'm looking at what numbers multiply to give me 12 and add up to give me that b value. So if I focus on, okay, what values will multiply to give me 12? I can write down all the factors of 12. I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, but I need all the numbers that give me positive 12. So I also have negative 1, negative 12, negative 2, negative 6, negative 3, negative 4. Okay, so I've got all my factors of 12, but what I want to know is what number do they add up to? Well, 1 and 12 is 13, 2 and 6 is 8, 3 and 4 is 7. Then I have negative 13, negative 8, negative 7. So that means on this problem, all my b values, all the values that b could possibly be are positive negative 7, positive negative 8, positive negative 13. Okay. Then number 17 on the homework, we're looking at x squared minus 3x plus c, and we wanted to know what values can I plug in for c. I just need 4 of them. So I want to think about, well, whatever numbers whatever factors I have to add up to negative 3. So we kind of have this endless possibility. I mean, I can do negative 13 and 10. These two things add up. When I add them up, give me negative 3. Negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. We can do negative 7 and 4. We can do negative 2 and negative 1. We can do negative 4 and positive 1. So these are all values that when I add them up, they give me negative 3, which is my b value. And I want to know, what do they multiply to give me? What is my c value? These were my two factors. What would my c value be? Well, I need to multiply them. So negative 13 times 10 is negative 130. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. And negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. So that means 4 possibilities for c are negative 130, negative 28, 2, and negative 4. These are not all of the answers. I'm going to say not all the answers. There are infinitely many possibilities that we could plug in for c. But what matters is, do the two factors add up to negative 3, okay? So your answers may not look like my answers on this problem. All right, so factoring. Let's look at another problem here. Let's do 35 x cubed y to the 4th minus 60 x to the 4th y. Okay, so I first want to see, do I have a GCF? Is there something I can factor out of both of these pieces? Well, I can take a 5 out of 35 and 60. I have x's in both pieces, and here I've got 3 and here I've got 4, so that means I can take 3 out. And I got a y in both pieces. Here I have 4 and here I have 1, so I can take 1 out. So this first term, when I have 35x cubed y to the 4th, I'm factoring out a 5x cubed y. So that's going to leave me with 7. 35 divided by 5 is 7. X cubed divided by x cubed is just 1. I don't need to write that. Y to the 4th divided by y is y to the 3rd. Then I have negative 60 divided by 5 is negative 12. X to the 4th divided by x cubed is x. Y divided by y is 1, and I don't need to write that. So that would be my factored. Here, this is just GCF. I just factored out the GCF. Okay. Next problem, we have 2m to the power of 6 minus 24m to the 5th plus 64m to the 4th. So again, I'm looking, what is my greatest common factor? Well, I have a 2 in all of these pieces. I also have an m. And the most I can take out of all three of these is m to the 4th. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. M to the 6th divided by m to the 4th. I subtract my exponent, so I have m squared. Negative 24 divided by 2 is negative 12. M to the 5th divided by m to the 4. I subtract my exponent, so I just have m. 64 divided by 2 is 32, and m to the 4 divided by m to the 4th is just 1. So now I need to factor this trinomial. So I'm going to be left with 2m to the 4th times, I need to factor this. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 32, add up to give me negative 12. If I wrote down my factors of 32, I have 1 and 32. I have 2 and 16. I don't think 3 goes in there. And then I have 4 and 8. So 4 and 8 give me 32. And I kind of see that 4 plus 8 is 12. So if I make both of those negative, that should be my two factors. So that I'll end up with m minus 4 times m minus 8. All right. So the next section of the test that we'll see is factoring by solving, factoring and solving. And I want to say there's 2 to 3 questions. I can't remember exactly. 2 to 3 questions here, and then 2 to 3 questions in the next section. So let's look at this problem. We have 5x squared plus 20x minus 67 equals 38. So the first thing I do when I'm solving quadratics is make it equal to 0. So I want to subtract 38 from both sides. I'll have 5x squared plus 20x minus 105 equals 0. So I can factor out a 5 from all 3 pieces. And I'll be left with x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. So I want to think about what two numbers multiply to give me negative 21 and add up to give me 4. So I need a negative and a positive. I'm going to go with 7 and 3. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. So that means this will factor to 5 times x minus, oops, I'm going to go with the opposite, right? Positive 7 minus 3 is going to give me that positive 4. So we have x minus 3 times x plus 7 equals 0. Okay, so since this 5 in the front is a constant and doesn't have a variable with it, then I can manipulate things to make it go away essentially. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I'm just left with 1 times x minus 3, x plus 7, but I don't have to write the 1. And 0 divided by 5 is 0. Now I have 0 product property, which tells me that if I'm multiplying two things and they equal 0, I can set both things equal to 0. So that means I'm going to have x minus 3 equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0. And then I'm just solving these linear equations. So x equals 3 or x equals negative 7. Okay, the last section, hold on, let me see. Yeah, the last section of our test is going to be over function composition and operations. And this is going to be like 2 to 3 questions. I can't remember if there's 2 here on the previous section, but 2 to 3 questions. So these are going to be problems like you're going to be given some functions. And you're going to have to perform operations and also compose them. So let's say you have f minus g of x. Then that means you're doing f of x minus g of x. So f of x is 3x cubed plus 2x minus 4. And we're subtracting off all of g of x, so I need to make sure I put that in parentheses and distribute this negative. So we have 3x cubed plus 2x minus 4 minus 4x minus 8. And then I need to combine my like terms and simplify. So I have 3x cubed minus 2x minus 12. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I name this. All functions should have names, so I'm going to keep that name with it. And that should be my answer. We also need to compose that. So you may be given something like f of g of x. So remember, if we have a function as our input, we're just replacing all of our x's with that function. So we would have 3, and I'm starting with my f function. I'm putting g into the x's. So instead of writing x here, I'm going to write my function 4x plus 8. That's cubed plus 2 times 4x plus 8 minus 4. On this problem, I'm checking to make sure you can compose things so you wouldn't have to simplify this. All right, so for the test, you will have 12 questions and 2 extra credit. You do not receive extra credit unless you work the problem and get it correctly, okay? So if it's incorrect, you don't receive the extra credit for those questions. So you have to work them and get them correct. It is all open-ended. It is not multiple choice. It's open-ended, so you have to show your work, so I can give partial credit that way. For my online kids, you have 50 minutes to complete the test. That's 12 questions, 2 extra credit. If you run out of time, send me an email and we will